The farther we explore, the more we realize that forests aren't shaped by trees alone. Some are transformed by something far more powerful, something no forest can escape: the weather. Across our planet, there are places where storms rewrite the landscape, where seasons erase familiar paths, and where survival depends on forces far beyond the control of every living thing. Our next journey begins where the first warning isn't the rain, it's the storm itself. Tropical cyclones. Some forests fear drought, others fear fire, but along the coast, the greatest threat arrives from the sea. Every year, warm waters over the Bay of Bengal fuel some of the most powerful tropical cyclones on Earth. When these storms make landfall, hurricane-force winds rip through the mangrove canopy. Large branches snap. Entire trees are uprooted. The forest floor quickly disappears beneath seawater. Then comes the storm surge. Powerful waves force salt water several kilometers inland, flooding areas that are normally dry. As rivers overflow under relentless rain, fresh water and seawater collide. Strong currents wash away mud, expose tangled roots, and reshape the shoreline within hours. For the animals living here, escape is almost impossible. Spotted deer crowd onto the few patches of higher ground. Saltwater crocodiles are carried far beyond their usual channels. Even Bengal tigers are forced to swim between flooded islands as their hunting territory disappears beneath the rising water. Yet this forest has survived thousands of storms. Mangroves anchor themselves with vast networks of interlocking roots, holding the shoreline together even as powerful waves pound the coast. Their flexible trunks bend with the wind instead of breaking. And once the floodwaters retreat, new layers of sediment help young mangroves take root again. This constant cycle of destruction and recovery has shaped the Sundarbans for thousands of years. Here, the weather doesn't simply pass through. It continually reshapes the forest itself. Extreme drought. Some forests wait for the rain. This one can wait for months. In southwestern Madagascar, the Spiny forest survives one of the longest dry seasons of any forest on Earth. For much of the year, little or no rain falls. Day after day, the sun bakes the ground. Temperatures often climb above 35 degrees Celsius. Streams dry up, ponds disappear. The soil hardens until it cracks. Water becomes the most valuable resource in the entire forest. Many trees stop producing leaves to reduce water loss. Others store precious moisture inside swollen trunks that keep them alive through months without rain. Even the forest's famous spiny plants serve a purpose. Their sharp defenses help protect the water stored inside from hungry animals. For wildlife, every drop matters. Ring-tailed lemurs travel farther each day searching for fruit and moisture. Radiated tortoises rely on succulent plants to survive the long dry season. Many smaller reptiles remain hidden during the hottest hours, emerging only when temperatures begin to fall. Then, sometimes after months of waiting, the rain finally returns. Within days, dry ground begins turning green. Dormant seeds germinate, leaves quickly reappear, and a forest that seemed almost lifeless comes back to life. This is the Spiny forest. Here, the weather doesn't destroy the forest. It decides how long the forest must endure before it can live again. Persistent fog. Some storms announce themselves with thunder. This weather arrives in silence. High in Spain's Canary Islands, the Garajonay forest spends much of the year hidden beneath dense fog. Moist Atlantic trade winds climb the mountains, cool rapidly, and settle directly into the forest. Within minutes, the landscape begins to disappear. The canopy fades into white. Trails seem to end without warning. Trees only a few meters away become little more than shadows. In conditions like these, even short distances can become surprisingly difficult to navigate. The forest is filled with twisting paths, nearly identical laurel trees, and constant moisture that changes the appearance of familiar landmarks. The ground rarely has a chance to dry. Roots become slick. Volcanic rocks grow slippery with moss. A single careless step can easily send hikers to the ground. Yet the same fog that hides the forest is also the reason it still exists. Every drifting cloud leaves behind millions of tiny droplets. Leaves catch them. Branches guide them downward. Drop by drop, the forest creates its own supply of water, even when very little rain falls. This remarkable process has sustained the ancient Garajonay forest for millions of years. Here, the weather doesn't simply change what you can see. It decides whether this forest can exist at all.
Lizards.
Some storms arrive with rain, others with snow. Across Canada's Yukon, winter lasts for months. Temperatures can fall below -40 degrees Celsius. But it isn't the cold alone that transforms this forest. When Arctic air collides with moist Pacific weather, blizzards sweep across the Boreal wilderness. Powerful winds drive snow through the trees. Fresh tracks disappear within minutes. Trails vanish. Frozen rivers become impossible to distinguish from the surrounding landscape. Visibility can drop to near zero, even in broad daylight. Without clear landmarks, it becomes remarkably easy to lose your sense of direction. Then the cold begins to take over. Snowdrifts bury fallen logs, hidden streams, and thin layers of river ice that may collapse without warning. For the wildlife, survival depends on enduring the storm. Moose conserve energy by moving through sheltered forests. Canada lynx spread their oversized paws across deep snow, allowing them to hunt where heavier animals struggle to move. Grey wolves travel frozen valleys in search of prey, while snowshoe hares disappear into the white landscape that conceals them from predators. For nearly half the year, snow and ice dictate every movement inside this forest. This is the Yukon Boreal Forest. Here, winter isn't just another season. It's the force that decides how life continues. Seasonal flood. Some forests survive the weather. This one disappears beneath it. Every year, relentless rainfall across the Andes sends an enormous surge of water racing toward the Amazon basin. The rivers rise, higher and higher, until the flood leaves the riverbanks behind. Water pours deep into the forest. The trails are the first to vanish, then the campsites, then the clearings. Finally, the forest floor itself disappears beneath more than 10 meters of floodwater. For months, there is no dry ground to walk on. Boats become the only way forward. A single wrong turn can lead into flooded dead ends, powerful currents, or narrow passages blocked by submerged trees and drifting logs hidden just below the surface. The forest no longer behaves like a forest. It behaves like a river. Everything that lives here must change with it. Fish swim through the canopy, feeding on fruit that now hangs just above the water. Black caimans patrol places that were once dry land. Green anacondas move silently between flooded tree trunks, turning yesterday's forest into today's hunting ground. Then, almost as suddenly as it disappeared, the land returns. The flood leaves behind fresh layers of nutrient-rich sediment. Seeds begin to sprout. New plants rapidly reclaim the exposed ground. And the forest prepares to surrender itself to the water all over again. This is the Amazon flooded forest. No storm lasts forever. No drought lasts forever. But here, the seasons decide whether this place belongs to the land or to the river. The farther we explore, the more we discover that a forest is shaped by far more than the trees themselves. Behind every landscape, there are invisible forces quietly deciding what can grow, what can survive, and what must disappear. If you enjoy discovering the hidden side of our planet, subscribe to NA and Beyond Earth, and join us on our next journey beyond the ordinary. Because every forest has a story, and we've only just uncovered one of them.